Welcome back to Sunday Vibes, ladies and gentlemen. We're at Clubhouse 5, the best place to watch your sport right here in the centre of London. We're just off of Leicester Square. If you want to watch any football, any cricket, golf, any other sport, F1, rugby, you name it, they've got it here. Please come and check it out. They do us such a massive favour by shooting here. They are legends. I'm also joined by two legends of the game, Doguie Critchley and Michael McCubbin. McCubbs, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks, Zach. Not too bad.
Shirt. Yeah,
thank you,
very
mate.
smart.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
I've let us down here. God,
yeah. I do need to. This is actually a friend's shirt. He lent me this for like Sky Sports News appearances, but it's good. It's a Uniqlo number, and I'm very keen to get like the exact.
Just down the road from it.
Why don't you do squatters' rights and be like, I've had it for a month.
Well, to be fair,
it's mine,
he's actually forgot. I think I've had it for about 3 months, and he's actually forgotten all about it.
This is classic McCubbin, an absolute hoarder.
Yes, I could. It's effectively mine now.
Yeah.
But I do feel a bit bad. I might buy him another one.
But
it does. It suits me. It's a rare piece of. It's a rare piece of clothing where you put it on and you're like, oh, actually, this was made for me. So,
Good. Diggs, how are you, mate?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. I'm going to the motherland. I'm going to Bonnie, Scotland this weekend,
Nice.
which I'm looking forward to. Wee trip to Ayrshire, which would be very nice. Looking forward to that. And actually, I needed a week off football this week. I feel like I've got a lot of admin done. You know, in a week when there's just Champions League, there's Monday night football, there's often a game on a Friday, on a Thursday. Yeah. You just don't get anything done. So Grace has been pleased. We've cracked on with wedding prep. It's been a good week.
Amazing. We're talking about games on Friday. England are playing today and on Monday. Now, we're not going to be talking about those games specifically, but we are going to be talking, as you can see by the title, about Euro 2024. Around 6 months from now, 7 months from now, Germany, England lifting it in the final. And we're going to talk about the squad that are lifting that trophy in 7 months' time. Because, yes, it's around that time of year where we go and select our squad based on form that's happening in the year before. Obviously, a lot of things can change when we actually get to the squad players. Forms can change, injuries can change. So we're going to do this as if nobody is injured. So Luke Shaw into the side at the moment, or can be selected. And also based on the form they have right now. Again, things can change. So if when we see a clip in 6 months of someone clipping this out, that is the context that has been added. But yes, it's as easy as that. We've basically selected our 23-man squad here. We're going to kind of go through it and select a Football Daily group version. You guys in the comments below.
So we have to agree.
Yeah, we have to come to a decision based on our choices and arguments.
Selected.
Okay.
And I think there's going to be... there's going to be a solid amount that we've all got the same, just as there always will be. But there are going to be
18 out of the 23. Maybe
there are going to be some
17.
contentious ones. Let's start off then with goalkeepers. Apparently the mics are going off in the place. But yes, let's start off with goalkeepers. Right. Jordan Pickford, Nick Pope, Aaron Ramsdale, and Sam Johnson are kind of the main four. Trafford, I guess, is obviously playing the Premier League, but not necessarily having the better times at the moment. I do think, very quickly, Trafford, obviously, he had a great summer with the England youth side. However, I kind of feel like he's getting the Aaron Ramsdale treatment when he first started his career. Obviously, at Bournemouth, had a lot of goals conceded, so on and so forth. But I do think there is a good shot stopper in there. But those four, there's no other ones you want to add to the equation, really?
I mean, Dean Henderson probably would have been on consideration if he was playing regularly. One for the future, Anthony Patterson, who's Sunderland's goalkeeper. He's only 23. He's really, really promising, but obviously won't be called up for this Euro
Wigan's
squad.
Goalkeeper?
Oh, gosh, don't know.
I saw he's been playing for the youth team recently as well. Yeah, the name does escape me. But yeah, those are the four that we've got at the moment. And obviously, with this tournament, you have to have 3 goalkeepers. I've always kind of
I wish you didn't. I wish you only had to have 2.
So apparently,
you need a good lad as your third.
Yeah.
Just good vibes.
I also don't generally agree with this rule either. Like, I was looking into it.
We've got Carl Walker, he can go and goal.
There's only...
And Kane's been in goal before.
In World Cups, I think there's only been 4 times countries, or maybe this was before the most recent World Cup, 4 times countries have used all 3 goalkeepers in all of the tournaments.
And was that also based on like them maybe being in a third place playoff where like, you know, they were just like, we just give it to you, or was it like necessary?
It was actually there were some countries where all the goalkeepers, they didn't necessarily have a number one. Okay. So they were kind of switching it around. And so, but not many were kind of due to reasons of like, they were all injured. Yeah. I think again, like 2 of the 4 out of the entire World Cups that we've had.
I mean, people do get very upset with these squads, but particularly when it was a 26-man squad, there's always at least 4 cheerleaders, maybe even 5 players that don't get anywhere near playing. And with, the Connor Cody role.
And post-COVID as well now, so they've changed it from 26-man squad to 23, and the previous ruling was your goalkeeper, you could, no matter who it was, it's for the Euros, you could have changed that at any point in the tournament. So your 3 goalkeepers, even if you were at the quarterfinals, you could have changed at any point in the tournament. Due to COVID, I think their thing was like, obviously goalkeepers train together. If one gets COVID, all 3 of them might get it.
Oh, yeah.
So it makes sense. But anyway, that rule out of the window, back to
Thank goodness.
These 3 goalkeepers. Now, I'll go off with my selections and let me know, really, if there's any changes. Because he has been pretty good for Crystal Palace, but Sam Johnson isn't in my squads. I've got John Pickford, Nick Pope, and Aaron Ramsdale.
I think Pope has been dropped out recently, though.
Yeah,
which is quite interesting.
Supposedly, from what I was reading, Southgate, obviously, he's a great shot stopper.
Struggles with his feet.
And Southgate wants a keeper that can do that.
Yeah, I think he's also made, was it against Germany at some stage when he did play, he made a bit of a clanger. But I don't think there's any dispute about England's number 1. You know, it does come up around sort of March, April time every time. But I think he's done so well for England now, Jordan Pickford. Like, really, really good, particularly in the Euros. I think he went over 700 minutes without conceding, which was an England record. And in the World Cup was very solid as well. Obviously had that penalty shootout in the 2018 World Cup. He's always excelled for England. I think he's playing for a much better Everton side now. I think he's been really solid this season as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. We always give him his plaudits as well. I think his England record is just fantastic.
Exemplary,
and people might mention the game against France as a kind of hindrance. Was it the second goal?
The Giroud goal.
Or the first goal. Is it the first? What's the shot from outside the box?
The Chouameni goal.
Yeah, the Chouameni goal.
Yeah, could potentially do better, but it wasn't a clanger. It was far from a clanger.
It wasn't at all. And so, yeah, I agree. I do want, you know what? It feels almost maybe like the next tournament, next World Cup, that might be the one where there's a little bit more debate around the number 1 spot. A couple of young goalkeepers.
I think Johnston is, in Southgate's mind, closer to Nick Pope, but in my mind, he should be closer to Aaron Ramsdale, just because of the pure lack of game time as well.
Yes.
So I feel like it's between Ramsdale and Johnston. No, exactly, but between Ramsdale.
Yeah,
that's why Ramsdale might drop out. Is my point.
That is that I do agree with massively. So yeah, easy, simple. Let us know though if you guys have any other changes. Those are our 3 goalkeepers selected. We've got 20 other men to get through as well.
I picked 8. No, I didn't. I did. I picked 8 defenders.
I picked 7.
2 in each position.
I picked 7 as well.
Really?
Okay, so I'll go
because there are players who can play different positions.
Okay, so I'll quickly go through mine and let me know once I've said the name. Say if they're in the squad or not in the squad. Harry Maguire,
in.
John Stones,
all in.
Levi Colwill,
in.
Out.
Esri Konsa,
Out.
Kyle Walker,
In.
Reece James,
Out.
Out.
Ben Chilwell,
In.
Out.
Okay.
Oh, that's
some controversy.
I think you only picked one left back.
So have you got Luke Shaw?
Well, I've picked 2 left backs actually. I've picked Luke Shaw and I've picked Levi Colwill.
Okay, yes.
And you have Trippier as well.
So this is why I've picked Ben Chilwell over Levi Colwill over Luke Shaw. And who's the other defender you've added into? Oh, 2 extra defenders.
So I've got Trippier, Walker as my right backs. I'll come into another right back who's picked elsewhere in due course. I've got Shaw and Chilwell as my left backs. Then in centre backs, I've got Maguire, Stones, Dunk, and Tomori.
Ooh, okay.
Wow.
So mine's fairly similar to yours in that I've just got Stones, Maguire, and Dunk. Basically, Levi Colwill has got
covering both areas.
He's covering centre back and left back. Okay. It's quite a big job for such a young player, the youngest defender by far. In fact, by quite a long way actually. The only real youngster in my back line. But I think he's up to it. I've been really impressed by him at Chelsea this season.
Okay.
Probably it's a tournament too early.
Very quickly.
Yeah, it could be, but I just think like there's no one else
starting if in your dream backline, is he?
No, absolutely not. No. Like, he may not. Yeah, he may not get a game. It's nice to have a left-footed because that's the thing. Like it is quite. I think my drawback in what I've picked is that there's not that much cover on the right because Maguire and Dunk are both right-footed centre-backs who tend to play on the left. Colwill is a left-footed centre-back / left-back. So yeah, Stones is kind of a little bit isolated. But at the same time, if Stones were to get injured, then maybe I'd bring Dunk in there. I could be swayed with an extra centre-back potentially.
Okay.
I think in terms of like the right side.
Let's touch upon Harry Maguire quickly because if you had asked this question 2 months ago, I think everybody would have unanimously taken him out of the squad. He, during this Manchester United run, has actually been arguably their best player.
Yeah, one of, definitely.
I also look at my squad as well and think there is something to be said for experience in international competitions. And
partnerships.
And partnerships. And Harry
man.
Maguire and Stones have a great partnership, but also has an abundance of experience. And to be fair, I still look at John Stones, this young guy, but he's also one of the most experienced players.
And would have
for this England side.
For injury as well.
Yeah, exactly. And he's been through so much as well. Like, he's just come off a treble season. He's worked under Pep Guardiola. He's been a large majority to England's success in defence when he has been partnered with Harry Maguire. But yeah, as for Harry, like, I don't know if he's my starting centre-back.
Really?
Come the beginning of the World Cup.
All that chat about partnerships out the window.
No, but again, it comes down to, I guess, the form. Like, right now, I'm saying this, but given when it actually happens,
by the end of the season,
he's starting for Manchester United.
He might not be starting. By
who are you partnering?
So
Stones? I assume it's Stones.
I think I think it's Stones and Konsa right now. Again, depends on Colwill and what happens.
Konsa hasn't even been capped yet.
Yeah, but I think Konsa should have been capped for a long,
I agree,
long time.
but I feel like
he's
it's a little bit too late.
Konsa this season's been one of the
I'd
best
rather
centre-backs in the Premier
start
League.
just because he's got more England experience. He doesn't have a lot of it, but Stones and Dunk would be my backup for Maguire.
Dunk's only had like 3 caps. I know 2 of them have come recently, but he's only had 3 caps.
I
know. I've mainly brought a Dunk in just because I think stylistically he's probably closer to Maguire, and so he's quite a good backup, and he's also a leadership figure as well. I think that's what Dunk has, is that he's got such experience at club level, and been Brighton captain since 2019.
One of my biggest fears is that Maguire is not being played by Man United at the end of the year, and Stones is still injured, and then it's a completely new Then I think they'll probably start Maguire.
But we're not going to go into this with. We're not going to.
Yeah, let's
not talk about.
Yeah,
let's all talk about
injuries. It is a little bit
injuries,
concerning. I mean, Stones has, I think, started over 30 league games once in his career. He's missed 25 games since the start of last season. He's continually picking up bad injuries, and it's a massive, massive issue. Because for me, Stones has been England's best centre back for England probably this century. Like, I don't think Terry or Ferdinand ever reached this level for England. Like, Stones has had 3 pretty consecutive immaculate tournaments. Like, he was brilliant at the Euros. As was Maguire, and he was even better at the World Cup in Qatar.
I saw Boovy say he's England's 5th best ever centre-back.
He's definitely up there.
Yeah, he's definitely in the conversation.
Yeah.
I'm talking about purely for England, though. Yeah. And I just don't think you can really argue with his record at major tournaments. Like, he's been near faultless.
Yeah, I think the thing is with Stones as well is that I've never really noticed him have a slow return from injury. I feel like when he comes back from injury, he basically hits his level like within a game or 2, which is really, really impressive. Like, I haven't really seen him look in any way vulnerable in years. Like, I really haven't.
So you both have got Trippier in your squad.
Yes.
I haven't, and
Really?
I've picked Reece James.
Yeah.
People might
Wonder
say
why.
Chelsea bias.
No.
I think on a given day, if Reece James is fully fit, and this is how we're going into this, Reece James is a better right back than Kieran Trippier. I think defensively he's stronger, and I think going forward he's stronger as well. Maybe not as good at set pieces as
He probably
Trippier.
is, but do I back him to last? Like,
But this is
6
what
games
again.
and 7 games in a
I think we
tournament?
have to go into this with with. I think you can.
I think the advantage with Trippier as well, and maybe this is going against what
left back.
is the fact that he can play on the left as well if needed.
I guess
and
my squad,
and that means that maybe I could be swayed to maybe bringing in a more right-sided defender rather than Colwill. But that was my
So
thing
that's
with
why I think
Trippier.
that's partly why I picked Colwill, because he can play left back.
I probably agree with
And that's
you.
why
For
I've
like
got
a
Kyle Walker
one-off
there as well
game,
to play
if they're
right
both
back.
fully fit and then they're on their
And
best
this is
form,
how I've
I'd
looked
probably
at-
pick Reece James. But that probably undermines a little bit of Trippier's consistency over the last, even since the start of last year. I mean, he's like 33 now,
he's
but
been incredible,
he still
no
creates
doubt
the most
about it.
chances in the division this year. I think only Zinchenko's played more progressive passes out of all Premier League defenders. Like, he's at a really, really high level on the ball and off it, I think.
If you look at that Manchester City game, I think that's the best I've seen Reece James since
he was
returned
brilliant.
from injury. And like, he can have. What I will say as well, to be fair, and I guess this needs to be considered, is I've actually never seen Reece James have a good game for England. Really,
He's only played about 15
he has
games
barely,
or something.
He has barely
Like,
played,
yeah.
but he got sent off in one. He's never, he's never necessarily had an amazing time so far for England. But again, that is kind of down to injuries. I've gone into this thinking, as I said, nobody's injured. Everyone's fit and firing, and ready to go. But I guess with context, you do have to think of it like that.
We also have to take into consideration that whoever this second right back is going to be, I assume, is going to be back up to Walker, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you go into that tournament with Walker. Like, this is probably going to be Walker's last major tournament
Same
as well.
with Trippier.
Walker is going to be the starting right back. And so I think where the argument for Reece James is that Reece James is probably a more stylistic fit as a backup to Walker in terms of stuff like recovery pace, in terms of his. I think Reece James is a more accomplished attacking fullback, or at least at this moment in his career is a more penetrative attacking fullback than Walker or Trippier. Really, that's where he is. Like, he is just a brilliant attacking right back in the way that Walker and Trippier don't quite have those attributes. But he will play a more similar game to Walker in general, whereas Trippier, Trippier, you are really relying on the delivery a lot. It's like it's like comparing Trent and Reece James. That there's
and technically, I don't know about you boys, Trent's in my squad.
Trent's in my midfield, yeah.
So there is that as well, I guess.
There is a lot of options. I think on Walker, like, he's kind of fended off, obviously, João Cancelo, who's a major threat to his place, to his starting place. I mean, no one has played more minutes for Man City this season in the league than Kyle Walker at his age. So impressive. And he's had really, really good tournaments for England as well, playing as a right-sided centre-back in 2018. He was named in the team of the tournament in 2020. He had that phenomenal game against Mbappe in the quarterfinals in Qatar. Like, he was, kept the best player in the world, well, the second best player in the world probably at that point, quiet in that game. So he's never really let England down. So I think he's got to be the starter.
Yes. Okay. So what can I push you, Mikey, to take Reece James instead of Kieran Trippier and go and overall Doguie? Unless you,
I can get on board with that. I'm not like totally tied to Trippier, but
okay.
I like Trippier because it's like, 2018 semi-final, and everything. I am tied to that, but because I've already got Colwill in there, I don't mind dropping. I know it's really harsh, but the England right back, it's harsh to drop. Like Reece James may have a killer second half of the season. I'm always very cynical about Reece James. I feel like he's just never going to last more than 5 games.
And that's fair enough. That's what the evidence shows.
But if Reece James does stay fit for the rest of the season, then I think it's going to be really, really hard to not take him come May. Because I think it looks like Chelsea are only going to get better as the season goes on, and Reece James will have a big part to play in that.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll do this again come closer to the time. And it gets a little bit more
it's not always about form. It's like, we've picked Harry Maguire. Like, have I picked Harry Maguire based on his last 3 weeks of performances? No. Like, I've picked Harry Maguire because of his England experience.
Yeah, very true.
Like it's not all about form. And Trippier does have a better England CV in general than Reece James, but I'll happily take Reece James.
So you guys were both not picking Chilwell as well?
So no, I have picked Chilwell.
Okay.
So, and I want to get into my reason.
Did you not pick Shaw? Or did you not
I've not picked Shaw, no, because I basically... So this comes down to the relationships, as you mentioned earlier, Doguie. Again, this
you just want to all Chelsea back line.
But based on the form right now...
Can we get Thiago Silva?
Based on the form right now, Raheem Sterling is probably starting for me and is going into my squad. And I'm thinking one of the things that was so good that we've seen for Luke Shaw is his relationship with Rashford on that left flank. Partly, maybe half the reason why Rashford's not been so good this season is because Luke Shaw's not playing left back. And I'd like to think, again, form coming into this. I think to me, it's a bit of a madness that Raheem Sterling isn't in the England squad right now. Anyway, I think there was definitely a period where it was right to take him out. But over the last month or so, he should 100% be in that England squad. I do like to think, it's because Southgate's thinking, I know what Rashford can bring. I want to try and see what this new person is like. But he's never done that ever in his entire
I would be
England
so
career.
surprised if Sterling didn't make the squad for the Euros. Like, it would be the most un-Southgate thing to not take Sterling to his final tournament.
We'll get on to Sterling, I think, maybe in a little bit. But that's kind of more so the reason why I brought Chilwell was because of the relationship on the left flank between them.
I get it. But there are just people that are Southgate guys. And Luke Shaw is just a Southgate guy.
Yeah,
He's a Southgate man. Chilwell is never Chilwell, Trent, players like that. They're not Southgate men.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong either. You're not wrong. And I can be convinced to change this to Luke Shaw. I'm more than happy to do that. And
also can cover left-sided centre back if he needed to.
And to be fair, we've also seen the relationship between Luke Shaw and Raheem Sterling for England as well.
That's the thing.
He played all 5 games at the World Cup.
I'm not against that. I'm more than happy to change that. So we've currently got the other question, I guess, is bringing. I've gone for Ezri Konsa and Levi Colwill. You've gone for
Colwill and Dunk.
Dunk and Tomori.
Okay, so
Tomori is 4th choice.
In terms of Ezri Konsa, I think he is the best centre back of those lot at the moment. I think it's poor that he hasn't had call up sooner. I think this season been immense. Like he's just. I don't really see a poor or weakness to his game. He can play, he can distribute the ball well. He's playing now he's playing in a side that want to have possession, that England want to also replicate. He's playing under a manager that is expecting more from his centre-backs. Again, what Gareth Southgate wants. I think maybe the one thing you can look at is aerially, he could be a little bit stronger. I guess that's what you add with having someone like Harry Maguire into the side as well. He can kind of add that side too. But on the ball, fantastic. He's got great recovery pace as well in getting back. There's so many assets to his game. And he's 26. Like, eventually you do need to get the kind of future centre-backs in the squad to have this tournament experience. You know, Southgate might not start him. He might go with the Maguire Stones link. That's fine. But I think it's a great option to bring off of the bench. Like Lewis Dunk, is he going to start for England? Probably not. Is he going to be at the next tournament? Probably not. And so when I think of
I think back him to step in and like instantly hit the ground running.
I think so, yeah. Based on the form that he's had so far, like it's a lot of pressure to add. I do agree, but I also agree with Michael.
I think he's had a better season so far than Dunk, but I think Dunk was probably one of the outstanding top 5 centre backs in the league last year. I think
he was fantastic. There's no doubt about it. But just I think based on what we're seeing so far, like I think Ezri Konsa also deserves.
They're
all
good shouts. Yeah, I think the thing is with Duncan, it's like to be honest, the Euros next summer, Southgate's priority should not be what's like, you know, giving someone a bit of tournament experience.
I guess so.
It needs to be winning the tournament, and I just think Lewis Dunk, like, I don't know enough about the Aston Villa dressing room, to be honest, but I know for a fact that Lewis Dunk is a leader and has been a big leadership figure at a Brighton side that has gone from strength to strength over the last few years. He's played under Graham Potter, he's played under Roberto De Zerbi, like. He's, you know, I think he's cut out for this England side, and yes, I think like there's physical like thing, you know, he's not the fastest, but I think like, you know, he has, I think he has that kind of ability to like, if Maguire were not to play, he could kind of step in and play that role really well. Like I think he's basically played that role better than Maguire over the last 2 years. You know, ball playing centre back who's also got the physical attributes
not as quick.
Well. Not as quick. Definitely not as quick because he's old. He's old. Like, but he is a leadership figure, and I think, you know, without, you know, we haven't got Conor Cody in this side. You know, like we haven't got Mings, who again was also there for his leadership qualities. Like I think we need figures like Dunk in that, especially in that back line. We need them in the dressing room.
I have seen Konsa give interviews saying that Unai Emery has asked for him to be more of a leader this season. And I mean, if you look at the way Aston Villa's season is going, you know, it looks like that's happening. He doesn't have the experience that Dunk has of doing it.
That's the thing. I think if you have Konsa, like, and this is no disrespect to Konsa because he's just younger and he hasn't played at the top level for as long. Like, I don't, you don't have Ezri Konsa and, you know, younger players in that dressing room. Like, they're not like, you know, I think Lewis Dunk could be a bit of an underrated figure in that dressing room. Basically, I think people could look to him for advice or for.
I get it from like an experience of playing football for a long time, but like he also doesn't necessarily have the experience of playing international football in abundance.
No, but I could see him carrying himself in quite a strong way. But maybe I'm just putting.
I think they're all good candidates. I also think Mark Gehi's probably closer.
Mark Gehi, probably the one that does go, and I do feel bad, for not giving.
But I just think Tomori, like, he's played 24 Champions League games now. He's played in Champions League quarterfinals. He's played in Champions League semi-finals. He's played against PSG. He's played against Dortmund. He's played against Newcastle. And like, Milan haven't been very solid since they won the title, really. Yeah. Mainly, I think, due to a lot of injuries. I think they've got an uninspiring manager as well. But Tomori, whenever he's played, his level's not dropped massively. And
he's conceded a lot of goals this season.
They have conceded up, but then he's lost Kalulu till January. Malik Thiel's had suspensions. Like, it's been chaos in front of him as well. There's no defensive midfielder, and he's been left slightly exposed. Has he been as good as in their title-winning season? Probably not. But does he have the experience? I think better experience than Konsa, than Gehi, undoubtedly. Yeah, the fact that he hasn't really played regularly for England so far. There must be something that Southgate sees in his game that is deficient.
He seems a bit Mark Gehi. I mean, let's give a bit of talk about Mark Gehi, because actually, in a realistic world, I think Gehi's probably the one that goes.
Yeah.
And Lewis Dunk. And like, you know what? Southgate probably takes 9 defenders. Like he did that last time, didn't he? At the World, he took a lot of defenders last time, if I remember correctly.
He probably does take 2 left backs.
Yeah, and so, but like, let's get a little bit of chat to Mark Gehi, because I think this season, Anderson actually seems to be the one that seems to be being a little bit better this year. He's stepped up massively. But Gehi has been, we talk about leadership, he's the captain. He's captain's Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
He's been fantastic. He's been an amazing acquisition since they bought him. You do wonder whether those two centre-backs will be at Crystal Palace next year, actually, when people start looking at centre-backs. But Southgate does seem to kind of start him. And when it's the games where it's like not the England A team, Gehi is in. He's always comes on as well from the bench. Southgate does see him and really like him. He's another one as well that's come through the youth ranks, been with the whole, has a lot of relationships with the younger England players too. I think he's also, I guess, a very worthy pick as well. Like I would have any him of these centre back. You would have him over.
I think I would have him over Conser.
Any of these centre backs that go, I don't think I'm really sitting here being like, oh my god, why have you?
I mean, hopefully they're not playing. No offense to them, but you just want Stones and Maguire at full fitness, to be totally honest.
I could debate. We'll see how Maguire has come to the actual tournament. Okay, look, I'm willing to change Ezri Konsa for Dunk.
Let's get Duncan.
And then
get Dunkers in.
Finally,
he's a Southgate man.
I do kind of want a left-footed centre back over Tomori.
Okay.
Let's get Cole then, man.
Yeah.
Cole over Tomori. Yeah.
I'm sorry. And I get it. But I'm just thinking about like left.
But yeah,
right
we've got
be trusted.
We've got two left-sided, right-footed centre backs in there.
Fine. Right, midfield.
Yes.
I think we haven't actually debated Colwill there, but like I think let's just get him in. But I mean I'm happy just to
he's
put
fine.
him in. Yeah.
Again, I mean,
sorry, he's not fine. He's very promising.
He's a bit because he is a wild card pick. Colwill.
He's one of the 23rd, 22nd players in this squad. He's not.
Well, he's already obviously he got his first caps in the October call up, and he got called up again for this one. He had to pull out due to a shoulder injury.
I just preferred Tomori,
but he and again. As the season goes, he's going to get more and more experience. Yeah. And as Mikey said, Chelsea look like they
won't be playing in the Champions League, though, will he? But anyway.
No, neither will tomorrow if things keep going. As they are. Midfielders then. Yeah. I've gone for 6.
I have.
I've gone 6 midfielders
I've gone
here.
For 6
I've got 6 as well,
okay.
I reckon we've probably got the same list.
So I've got Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yep.
Jude Bellingham.
Yeah.
I've got Conor Gallagher.
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
Declan Rice.
Yeah.
Yep.
James Maddison.
Yep.
Cole Palmer.
No.
Oh, really?
So who are the? So you've got James Ward-Prowse.
I've gone quite controversial actually. I've actually gone quite conservative.
You've not taken
Rice.
Calvin Phillips.
I've not taken Calvin Phillips. I was considering it though. I'm not. I've taken Jordan Henderson.
What?
Yeah, I know. It's not great. I could, to be honest, I'd be quite happy.
All the things I expected to come up in this episode.
Yeah. No.
I might. I probably.
You're not taking Mason Mount either.
I am taking Mason Mount. Yeah.
Thank goodness you're not in charge.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what? I will quite happily take Henderson out because I didn't really want to take him. I'll happily take Henderson out.
And who have you got instead of Cole Palmer? Mason Mount.
I've got Calvin Phillips.
You haven't even got James Ward-Prowse instead of.
I haven't got James Ward-Prowse. I've got Gallagher, Maddison, Trent, Phillips, Bellingham, Rice.
Why are you taking Calvin Phillips?
Because he can play the Rice role.
He can't play in general.
He can. He's actually played quite well for England recently. In that, where was it?
Was it against Germany?
I think it was against Italy. Actually, was it? Yeah, he was pretty solid.
All right,
this is England's problem. There are no out-and-out sixes aside from Rice, and even Rice is quite expansive.
I mean, Rice gets injured in your squads. I suppose you're calling up someone, but it probably would be Phillips.
Yeah, I would happily take out Henderson for Phillips. I kind of don't really want Henderson there.
I think you've got to have Gallagher there.
Well, John Stones can play 6.
Can he?
Yeah.
I mean, as
he
sole
can.
6. I don't know.
You'd probably have to ask your central midfielder to be a little bit more conservative as well.
Depends who we're playing.
I do understand what you mean, though. Yeah, Declan Rice. Like actually looking at my squad, if Declan Rice gets injured, I am a little bit screwed.
Luckily, he doesn't really ever get injured.
I think, but I was reading. There was a really good article that Jonathan Liu wrote in the Guardian yesterday. I think it was talking specifically about England's midfield and how midfields in general, like especially this season and last season, like at top clubs, are becoming a little bit more like
free flow,
a little bit more like chaotic. You know, look at like Liverpool's this season. Like Liverpool don't have an out and out 6 in the midfield 3. Like Man City have like experimented with John Stones stepping into midfield. Liverpool have also experimented with Trent coming from right back into midfield. You've got someone like Bellingham, who's supposedly a midfielder, but is playing almost like a striker at Real Madrid. Like there's quite a few examples of like, even I'm trying to think actually of another example, but and what's interesting about that, I guess, because especially in club football at least, there's a lot more. I don't know, the kind of transitional moments between midfields and attacks have become like almost a little bit more messy. And like, out and out defensive midfielders who only do that job are kind of pretty scarce now.
Yeah.
Look at the way that Rice is playing for Arsenal despite being their number 6. So in some ways, you don't actually need that second 6. You don't actually necessarily need someone who's just going to sit, because even when Rice and Calvin Phillips were playing together at Euro 2020, like neither of them were just sitting. Like they were both charging about.
Even in the World Cup, like Bellingham was the kind of the partner next to Rice, and both of them were still bombing forward.
And
Rice
that's the thing.
would be the deepest one.
That's the thing. Like Bellingham is not going to get anywhere near his Real Madrid role for England. Like he's not. Like he's not.
If
going,
everyone's fit,
he's not going to be the most advanced of those
him
midfielders.
We need him further back.
We need his overall ability. Like Real Madrid play him there because they haven't got a striker. Like England have like an abundance of attackers and an abundance of attacking midfielders as well, which Real Madrid don't have. So in some ways, actually, just bin off the second 6, and you can have Trent playing alongside Rice if you need to. You can have Bellingham playing alongside him. The reason why I've taken Mount is just because I think it's between Mount and Gallagher for me. And like, yes, Gallagher's been great this season. Like, I really think he has. But like, just overall, I just still think Mount's a better player. I just think he's a better footballer. Like Mount achieved much more at Chelsea than I think Gallagher's going to achieve over the next couple of years. Like, yes, he had a down year last year. Yes, he's been injured and hasn't started great at Man United, but hasn't been terrible. Also, only had 4 starts because of injury. Like, I just think he's a better footballer and has more England experience.
I guess for me, with the Mount situations, obviously I've for years been a very positive Mount fan. It's just the form go right now. Like, I think you can only make your opinions, I guess, on what we've seen so far this season. Right now, and you're right, we've barely seen Mount. And we have seen the trajectory for Mount at the moment that has obviously declined. And we've not seen him necessarily pick that up any time over the last what feels like 8 months or so. Even his end of kind of few months at Chelsea, he was injured for a long part of it, and when he was fit wasn't really that positive, but who was at Chelsea last season, to be quite honest. I think that one is something, I think coming into the tournament, it is someone that's on a bit more form. It does seem like Southgate does like Gallagher. Like, one of the things you get from Gallagher is an absolute workhorse who will chase down every ball, who will press everything, who will put in every single tackle you want him to make. Some people could see it a little bit like foolish, but he will make tactical fouls. And sometimes you do need those players to put on in, say, the 65th minute, you're losing and you just need to try and win that ball back as much as possible and create turnovers. Gallagher's a great option to have for that. Mount has also been someone who's a great presser as well, can do that side of things as well. And probably on the ball,
I think Mount's just a bit more of a system player. I think he's a bit more of a system player.
Gallagher's technical ability, though, has really improved a lot. Definitely. I think he's actually he's a pretty good all-round footballer now. And before, I was a bit of a Gallagher skeptic because I sort of saw him in that Crystal Palace role as his best role, like just a workhorse, like off the front, and was actually, had that first half of the season at Crystal Palace where everything he hit went in and he was playing exceptionally well. Since then, mainly through lack of minutes, through competition, maybe stagnated. But this year, this free role in front of Enzo and Caicedo, I think he's been absolutely brilliant for Chelsea so far.
He's kind of played striker at times.
And initially I was actually going to do a call between Trent and Gallagher for this, and I was sort of thinking, but then I actually did something quite controversial in my front line, managed to get them both in. But I was thinking about who would I rather to put on if England are losing a game, and it'd be Trent, but who would I rather put on if England are trying to hold on to a lead? And Gallagher's really good for that, as you say. So yeah, I'm pleased that I managed to get both in. I actually think my dream midfield would be Rice, Bellingham and Maddison. Yeah. But I don't see Southgate playing that. I think he's much more likely to play... I think he's quite likely to play Phillips, to be honest. Rice, Phillips and Bellingham in front. Because Bellingham played so well in his in that Scotland game, in that free role. And has been so good for Real Madrid in the final third this year. I mean, there's only 2 of his 15 games this season where he's failed to contribute a goal for club and country. It's an almost unheard of run of form from a striker, let alone a midfielder, especially one joining a new club. So Bellingham and Rice are one of the reasons that I am so confident going into this Euros. And I say so confident, I just think we're probably the second best squad on paper, and I'd be disappointed if we didn't reach the final.
All right, crunch time. Let's make some decisions. Jordan Henderson,
God.
England
Yeah,
legend.
get him on. Yeah,
get
get him
out.
off.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
so-
much for your services, Sunderland boy.
Who are we happy
Goodbye.
to put? You happy to take Gallagher instead of Henderson?
Either Gallagher or Phillips, isn't it? I think it's either Gallagher or Phillips.
I took both.
For my,
I think I would take. Thing is, I kind of don't want Gallagher and Mount to be in there, and I do like Mount. Like I do like
On
Mount.
current, like you're
On
picking the squad right now.
But I'm not picking it on current form though. I'm just
you got to,
picking on
mate.
who I think the better player is. Do you have to pick every position on current form?
I think
like
you've got to
we
look
put
at it a
Harry
little bit
Maguire
of
in the back line.
He's playing well right now.
but
He's
I
playing-
think,
yeah,
I think,
but
I think form is
below you
a
little
big
bit.
reason as to how you're going to do in a tournament. Like you want to take players that are having good seasons.
Yeah,
I agree.
I back Mount to have a decent season by the end of this year. Like I do back him. But
I mean, look,
have we got
I don't know.
any other options?
I can concede to. I can concede. I can concede Cole Palmer if we take Gallagher.
Yeah, I think yeah. I'll
Cole
take. Well,
Palmer's a bit-
let's take Gallagher. I don't think Cole Palmer's not a.
It's a bit of a fun one for
he's
me.
Not, he's
I
not
wanna have a
going
little
into
chat about
midfield,
Cole
is he? Like
Palmer.
Cole Palmer.
He'll
like
be picked as on the right wing if
You
you
don't
picked it
think
anyway.
that's what I mean. Cole Palmer is like the Saka.
Oh, you don't think he
backup.
could do the? You don't think he could do the 10 role?
I'd be
What's the point?
amazed. Like he's not going to play there, so why would you pick him there?
Yeah.
Like, they'd
I guess
rather
he's more
play
of a backup.
Maddison
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
They'd rather
yeah,
play Bellingham there. They'd
Yeah.
probably rather play Foden there.
That is, I can understand that. I do understand that. I mean,
He's having a great run.
He's having a
but
great run. And
I'm
if he
glad
continues on that
glad he
run,
got called up. Yeah, if he continues on this run, then he will probably go.
it will
but-
be a really interesting. And like, it might be interesting. Like, it's interesting that England. You saw them put Trent in the midfield now.
Yeah.
Love that.
As the choice,
Really love
as a pure midfielder. So like, it'd be interesting. And was Cole Palmer in the midfield or was he in?
Yeah, he was in the
forward?
midfield.
He was in the midfield.
Yeah,
Okay,
he was,
so
yeah,
that's
weirdly.
interesting to see how. I feel like that kind of shows you an insight into the England
Saka's slowly
thinking.
getting, yeah.
So
He is,
that's
yeah,
6
he's
months,
really
6
3
months-
years too late. He's kind of everything's connecting.
Yeah, it's very
Okay,
fluid.
so we're going to take Gallagher, and then if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
whatever.
I think
And
we
then-
agree with the other ones.
And then with Cole Palmer, who's my
I think we've got to have Phillips
take
over
Phillips. So
over
essentially, Phillips over
Palmer.
Mount.
Phillips over Mount.
I think we've got to take Phillips.
I mean,
You know what? Because we've got Maddison in there already, and
we
we've
need
got,
Mount?
and we're probably going to have Foden in, I assume.
yeah.
I will concede Mount. But then at the same time, like Maddison, like Mount is
Maddison
different
can
from
get
Madison from Madison and Mount is different from Madison and Foden in a more attacking role. Like we're taking Mount as an attacking player. All right, whatever. Yeah, I don't care. Whatever, I don't care. Yeah, Gallagher.
That's the most pat
Gallagher
response ever.
and
I think he
Phillips.
does care a little bit.
Gallagher and Phillips, whatever. Was it?
yeah.
Were we putting Phillips in there?
Yeah.
We have put Phillips.
We put Phillips in there.
I
Wow,
can't
okay.
actually believe we put Phillips in there.
Yeah.
I don't think it's mental. I don't think it's mental. He needs to get a loan move in January, a permanent move in January, play regularly.
All
and get
right,
him in
so
the squad.
so we'll put him in on the contention that he gets a low move in January. If he doesn't, Mount is going.
Yes. There we go.
Okay, fine.
Okay, there you go. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below.
Yeah.
On to the forwards now.
Bit messy that, to be honest.
Because there is.
Are you keeping count,
to
by
be
the way? Have
fair-
we definitely got the right amount of players in,
Yes,
yeah?
I am.
Yeah.
Very quickly as well, we didn't speak about Rico Lewis, who got called up.
He did, yeah.
And he was called up as a defender, but he can play as DM. So he can play as a left back.
Yeah.
Right back is obviously his position he grew up playing.
Very exciting, but he's not going.
He hasn't had a lot of
You're not
match,
going to the Euros.
match experience, I guess. Started 10 games, I think, last
Where
season.
would you play him? As a DM, as a right back? There's so much competition at right back. We don't need him at left back. It's really nice that he's got this experience level, but stay in the under 21s. He's only 18.
Yeah, it's incredible. I think he only played like a couple of games for the under-21s as
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
So good experience for him
Love
so
his
far.
trajectory, but too early.
All right, the forward line,
Yes.
a lot to pick from. A lot to pick from. I'm going to mention the players first.
Yeah. Well, the ones that you've picked, or just in general?
the whole list.
How
right
many
now.
players do we have left?
So we currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players.
Nice.
to-
Oh, that's
I've
good.
got
From
7
right now.
players.
I only have
I've-
6 down, so that
I've
helps me
picked,
out.
I've picked 7
Okay,
attackers.
so there's obviously Eze, Gordon, Nketiah, Wilson, Watkins, Bowen, Tony, Sterling, Saka, Rashford, Kane, Grealish, Foden are the ones that I have kind of picked as a short list. I don't think I'm missing out too many other players. Obviously, things can change as well with the 6 to 7 months that are left in the season. Phil Foden, Grealish, Kane, Rashford, Saka, Sterling, Tony is mine.
Ooh, Tony.
Wow.
I know.
Ivan.
A man who will
in
have
so
not
many left
played
field
any
shades.
football for 6 months
I
come
know,
January.
I know. And like,
Mad.
So you didn't pick,
Ollie Watkins is my other closest one to him.
so you didn't pick Watkins?
I've picked Watkins.
I didn't pick Watkins, no.
You didn't pick Watkins,
I
and you
think
picked
this
Ivan
one,
Toney.
this one, I'm much more. Ivan Toney, I'm more than happy to change.
Yeah.
It was that position for me. The backup striker to Kane is solely picked, in my opinion, on who ends the season the best.
And who did you pick? Tony.
Well, just 'cause I think he will.
Only one. You picked one backup, and it was Tony.
Yeah, I think that's because I
That's
think
such
he
a
will come the end of the
risk,
season
man.
will have the best ending to it.
Do you think?
I think Watkins right now is amazing.
I thought you were just talking about how you had to take form into account.
I think, yeah. And I think come towards the end of the
Tony
season...
has no form.
Right now, but I think at the end of the season he will, because I think he'll get the move to one of the clubs. To one of the big clubs that want him, that want him as starting striker, whether it's Arsenal.
You really think someone's going to spend 70 million on him in January?
I think quite possibly.
Really?
Ollie Watkins has been one of the best players in the league. Like maybe the top.
I think
Chelsea are the only team.
I'm happy to change it. I'm not bothered. I actually am not that bothered.
I mean, I think that's very silly because Watkins has got 11 goal contributions. Only Salah and Haaland.
Also, you're not even taking into account Callum Wilson.
Creative. I thought it came down to a straight shootout between Watkins and Wilson. I was feeling a bit guilty, but I just thought Watkins was the guy to pick.
I also think as well, like
I was very close to him. I think Wilson is. I just think Wilson's more of a pure goal scorer than Watkins. That's what he has over him. But actually, if we're thinking about who's going to be a backup to Kane, who is the like for like all round.
Do you not think that Ivan Toney's more like Kane than Watkins is?
Potentially,
which is also my kind of thinking
and also Toney gives you potentially more of a plan B, whereas you can kind of just hoof it long to him and he'll chest it, and whereas Watkins isn't that kind of player. But at the I just can't. Yeah, I can't at this moment in time. I can't. I don't think we need 3 at all.
Oh no, take two.
Take 2 because
definitely.
I mean, let's talk about it. But I think the big call in my front line. So I had Saka and Foden competing on the right. I had Grealish in.
Yeah.
And then I actually only picked 6 forwards, but now we've got 7. I can probably take both.
Have you not picked Sterling?
But I had to pick. My choice was between Sterling and Rashford.
Ooh. And you originally picked?
And I originally picked
Rashford.
I actually went with Sterling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Sterling is also a right-hand option, like as a Saka backup.
I'm playing forward.
If Sterling isn't playing, then he can also cover at striker.
Yeah, I think in our squad, both of them go. I think both of them go. So you don't actually have that issue.
Okay.
Issue, Dukestar.
What's your forward line?
The forward line, as I said, is Foden, Grealish, Harry Kane, Tony. I mean, I'm happy to change that to Watkins for now.
Please do.
Harry Kane, Watkins, Rashford, Saka, Sterling.
Yeah, I've basically got. That's what I've got.
Someone who actually the 2 players that I was also really thinking about. I mean, Eze, Gordon, and Bowen. Like Eze,
I think Bowen's got the strongest shout
an element. Eze adds an element of just pure skill, where like you could have somebody drive at a defender. But then I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, look, there are a few other players that can do that. Foden can do that. Grealish can do that. But Madison. Do you not think that like? I do think Eze does it in a different way.
Yeah.
Like Eze's ability to draw a foul. Like I feel like we've seen Grealish kind of do that a little bit less now since working with Man City. Not to say he can't do that.
But he's played very well for England.
He has played very well for England, but he isn't necessarily playing for Man City as well at the moment.
He's had a few injuries,
that we'll see what happens closer to the time. But I just think Eze, like, he can add something. Like a little bit of magic, but again, I am also willing. Like, so can Foden.
I just think that's the thing. I think with Eze, and I think also with Eze, it's like
to a degree, Rashford
really Eze's best position, I think, at Palace is in the centre, and I think that then he's coming up against like Bellingham and Maddison, and I just think it's just a bit of a step too far.
Yeah,
like I love Eze,
but Anthony Gordon.
Like, I just think I like again having a great season. If you're picking on form, like Gordon, gets into the current England squad, but
we've only taken one Newcastle player at the moment, and that is Pope. We haven't taken Trippier.
Yeah, but that's fine. Like
it's fine. It is fine.
Like I would have taken Trippier, but like I don't think Newcastle's. Well, that's partly why Eddie Howe's doing such an impressive job, because like Newcastle have a lot of injuries. They have a lot of injuries, and they have the majority of that squad is like non-international level English players. Somehow they're a Champions League team. Like it is actually baffling. So I don't think it's any disrespect on Newcastle to only have one representative there.
Do we worry?
I think Rashford is the contentious one at the moment, because he really is having quite a poor season.
Did have a very good World Cup though.
Scored what, 3 goals?
Scored 3 goals. Yeah, he was the first United player to do that since Bobby Charlton.
Madness. He did have a good World Cup, and I just think like Rashford is a bit of a he's a bit of a leadership figure as well, and
has captained England as well.
So and I think. I don't know. I think also like if you want something different late in a game, like Rashford has been that at points for England.
Yeah.
Like it's very left hand. It's left side heavy. Like you got Grealish, Sterling, Foden, and Rashford who could all play on the left. Saka's the only real specialist.
Rashford's playing out on the right.
He's playing on the right at the
Sterling,
moment.
We've seen play out on the right.
Foden can play on the right.
Like I do agree.
I think Foden is a backup right winger.
Yeah,
I think there's
or
enough there.
he could start on the left.
In
as well.
fact,
Foden
even
had a very good
Maddison,
World Cup as well.
even Maddison can play off the right.
Yeah.
If the way that probably we saw Maddison play on the left.
I think Southgate has tended to use him on the left. Yeah.
But I think that's a fairly I do feel a bit
I think that
bad
was the easiest
for.
one, to be honest. Forward line.
I feel a bit bad for Bowen, but
I
is
do and
Bowen
I
ever
don't.
going to start for England?
He's playing against one of England's best. He's up against one of England's best players in Saka, and he just doesn't have the versatility of Foden. So if you're choosing between Foden and Bowen, or even Grealish and Bowen, like Grealish's England record, the fact he's come on in major tournaments, that Germany game in the last 16 of the Euros, Grealish came on and was involved in both goals. At the World Cup, he actually only played 80 minutes. I was looking it up yesterday. So Grealish was a bit of a bit part player at the World Cup.
He was.
And so was Sterling, more so than we thought. But Rashford and Foden really sort of came into their own, and Saka was obviously excellent.
Even Rashford started on the bench, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
And he
contributed a lot more. The big one is we've just got to have Harry Kane on. Harry Kane in this current vein of form would be. It's very, very exciting.
He's incredible.
Okay, a random question.
In Germany as well.
Who would be your three players that you just think England just cannot afford to be without, injury-wise?
Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Declan Rice. And
Definitely Rice.
John Stones.
That was exactly the same as me. That's spine.
To a degree, I think Kyle Walker as well.
Yeah, Kyle Walker as well. But no, I think we're better at right back.
Because if we've got Reece James there,
No,
it's
I
not
know,
as big a loss.
But
I think I don't know. Walker is really important to the way that England play.
Walker is
really,
huge.
really.
But I think Kane, Rice, Stones, exactly the same as me. I think if they are fully fit, then England have a decent chance. But I really do worry about the backups to Rice.
Shout for Saka,
Saka.
Yeah, I think Saka. In some ways, Saka potentially.
Saka
maybe more I think England can survive without Kane, and England could get to the final without Kane more than they could get to the final without Rice or Stones. I think for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think in some I still think a front line of Saka, Watkins, and Sterling would still be pretty amazing. We don't necessarily need the centre forward to be. I don't know. Actually, having said that, Kane and Sterling's...
It just doesn't sound like the same thing.
Kane and... The main thing is Kane and Sterling's relationship. If Kane and Sterling can carry on the relationship that we've seen from them in tournaments past, and I know Sterling wasn't starting by the end of the World Cup campaign, but in that Euros campaign, their partnership was just electric. And I think it was actually at the 2018 World Cup as well, even though neither of them scored that much.
And the Euros.
But
Kane scored a lot.
Sorry, Kane, he did. A lot of penalties, wasn't it? Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, anyway, Rice and Stones.
Let's touch upon Sterling then, because I think it's a unanimous from us, but actually it's not necessarily a unanimous for Gareth Southgate. He's not taken him again. I mentioned earlier, I'd like to think it's because he's thinking, oh, look, I know what he does, let's try someone else. But he's never done that before.
Slightly worrying,
and so it would be interesting. It is a little bit worrying, isn't it?
He has done it, but he has done it before. I was actually looking at this yesterday. Rashford wasn't picked, interestingly, from missing a penalty in the Euros final to the start of the World Cup.
At all?
For England.
He didn't play.
Didn't play in a squad.
Even in the October international friendlies.
Didn't play.
Wow.
Which I've got it down here. Didn't appear for England between the Euro 2020 and the World Cup 2022, and then he scored 49 seconds after coming on against Iran.
That's mad, isn't it? I didn't even realize. Wow. But to be fair,
they all have had different times.
21-22 was a down year for Rashford, though. That's the thing. 21-22, it was Ollie.
That's when he had his everyone was like, "Oh, is he still recovering from the Euros?" He had a shoulder injury,
the back problems and whatnot. Yeah, it was end of Solskjaer, Rangnick's season, and Rashford, wasn't didn't hit top form during that campaign. What worries me more about Sterling is that Sterling is almost back to his best at Chelsea, and now he's missed two. Yeah, he's missed two.
Yeah, I wonder whether he's just give me 3 more months of this Sterling, not Sterling of 22, 23, and then I'll pick you again.
But it's a little bit harsh that he's now taken Rashford, who's obviously been poor this season, and Rashford and Sterling's obviously been much better. Even when Chelsea
did score though for England in the last break, though I seem to remember he played okay, and he's played okay for England recently.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sterling also, it might be a small factor. I think it'd be very unfair if it was a factor. But he actually had to go home from the last World Cup as well because his house got broken into. Yeah. Obviously,
I forget about that.
People that shouldn't be used as a reason not for picking him. But maybe he just missed out some crucial training, and maybe he just fell down the pecking order just for that really unfair reason.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a really poor decision. He has to go. He has to go. Well, so that is our squad. One player that we haven't touched upon very, very quickly, and he every single time the squad list comes out, always spoken about. James Ward-Prowse.
Yeah.
Isn't in our midfield.
It's harsh. I think it's harsh.
And I think it's harsh because one of the people speak about all the time is his set pieces. Like, and especially with England's kind of strong aerial threat they have. Harry Kane, arguably one of the best headers in the world. Harry Maguire, John Stones, Dunk's also in the squad, in our squad. Declan Rice, very strong in the air. Just looking at any of the
This
others.
is kind of why Trent kind of needs to be on the pitch.
Well, this
because
is
if we're not taking Trippier, we're not taking Ward-Prowse. We do.
You've got James Maddison. This is so my
Shaw can take free kicks.
and my thinking basically
left,
as to why I haven't taken Ward-Prowse is James Maddison is a fantastic set piece taker. Trent Alexander-Arnold is a fantastic set piece taker, and so essentially, is Ward-Prowse going to start the games anyway? No. So you're not going to get his set piece taking ability.
But you might off the bench.
You could off the bench.
It's like
he is more of a specialist than either Trent or Maddison. Like, I would
What
argue
is the degree of like?
Yeah.
Is it worth it? Yeah.
And it's
I
so
can
hard
foresee
to
a scenario
contemplate. It
where
is incredible.
Trent actually starts on the bench initially, and if Ward-Prowse was there, he'd also be on the bench. And it's who do you put on for 20 minutes? And it's really difficult because Trent is obviously better in open play than Ward-Prowse. I don't think a madman would argue that wasn't the case. But you might end up with 3 set pieces.
You got players that can win fouls.
Yeah.
You got a lot of players that can win fouls. Like
I'm now considering it more than I did when I was writing it.
It's a really strong option to have. Like
But then you need to drop someone, and it'd probably be Conor Gallagher.
This
or
season,
Calvin Phillips. We're taking Phillips at the moment.
yeah.
I would actually, because I've always been a bit of a skeptic with Ward-Prowse. Like before the last World Cup, I was like, yeah, not really
Then he went to West
fancying
Ham.
that. I just think he has been really good at West Ham, playing
And outfield
in
as well.
a better team. And yeah, like at West Ham, he is the conduit that everything goes through. Like he's the one who's taking the most touches. He's the one who's making the most passes in open play. I've genuinely been very, very impressed by Ward-Prowse. I've kind of come round on him, and I think his set piece delivery
crazy.
It is the best. It is the best.
And
like
sometimes
you just look at like and West Ham. Yes, they're a set piece specialist team, so it plays into his hands. But this England team
Look at the 2018 World Cup.
Yeah, and I mean it was a long time ago now, but this England team does have set piece. You know, they clearly do work on set pieces quite a lot. So I would.
You want to swap Calvin Phillips for him?
I would happily put Ward-Prowse over Phillips. The only thing that Phillips does have great tournament experience is the only thing, but I would happily put Ward-Prowse.
There also comes a factor of like what is Southgate realistically going to do? And there's no
we're not talking about that necessarily.
There's no chance that he just takes Declan Rice for that one position. Like he will take Phillips. He will.
This is ours.
There's a good chance he starts Phillips.
This isn't about Southgate. It's about us, Stiggs. This is about us.
I don't know.
I wouldn't feel comfortable.
You want to call up Ward-Prowse and tell him he can't come.
Phillips started in the October international break alongside Rice, played very well, freed up Bellingham to play that role, and Bellingham was brilliant in that role. I do think there needs to be a balance in this side.
Do you think Trent could play that role?
What, alongside Rice?
Yeah.
Potentially. I'd probably play Trent against
You've got John
easier
Stones
opponents.
again.
I don't know. We need to see more of Trent in midfield for England before we make these sort of calls.
Well,
I just don't think it's a shocker to have...
After this weekend, we've only got one more international break before the tournament.
Yeah, true. I just don't think it's a shocker to not have James Ward-Prowse in the squad.
It's tough.
It's not a shocker.
It is tough. And like, if you got Maddison on playing, if you got Trent playing,
Sure.
even if to a degree, Reece James, like, there are Luke Shaw, there are players that can take set pieces. But
Rashford, if he's done.
If we get a free kick in that perfect zone where he can whip that ball in, where he puts it in the ideal place.
You're thinking about him scoring free kicks?
No, I mean, I'm either. Like,
you want a bit of Beckham mania, don't you?
Yeah.
I just think
James Ward-Prowse coming off the bench.
But like, do you not think as well? Like I'm thinking about opposition-wise.
Netflix
like,
documentary.
Opposition-wise,
have I changed the Euros?
They will know. Like, it is a known fact now how lethal he is on a set piece.
Yeah, but it's a known fact, but no one can defend it.
That's exactly my point.
Yeah.
The opposition, like they see Ward-Prowse over the free kick, the nerves are kicking in. Like, do they feel the exact same amount of pressure?
It's interesting. I don't know whether it's known around Europe. I definitely know.
Yeah, but I feel like in that point,
who
you
on earth
should.
is this bloke?
Is the Hungarian manager being like, here comes James Ward-Prowse?
Should be. It should be. Yeah, that's what scouting's for. All right, so you're. If
you guys want James Ward-Prowse and drop out Calvin Phillips,
I want to do it.
I can do it.
I want to do it. JW
It's a big one because if Calvin Phillips is actually going to be a starter, then I'd be. But yeah, I think Let's go for it. Fluid midfield.
Let's have a bit of fun.
Chaotic midfield.
Let's
Chaos.
have
Southgate.
a bit of fun.
Dropped another Southgate man.
There we go. So from the back to the front, our England 23-man squad is Jordan Pickford, Nick Pope and Aaron Ramsdale in goal. Our defence consists of Harry Maguire, John Stones, Levi Colwill, Dunk, Kyle Walker, Reece James and Luke Shaw. Our midfield is Trent Alexander-Arnold, Jude Bellingham, Conor Gallagher, JWP, Declan Rice and James Maddison.
So attacking.
And our front line is Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, Harry Kane, Marcus Rashford, Bukayo Saka, Raheem Sterling, and Ollie Watkins.
Good front line.
Yeah.
There we have it. That is the team that will be lifting the trophy.
coming,
It's definitely a very attacking squad, but that's what we want to see. Even though England have
do you actually think it's going to win, Zach?
That's not
I've thought every single year, so why not continue there? I do generally think
second favourite.
I do generally think that I will
behind
see
France,
yeah.
I do generally
France by
think
quite a distance than us.
I think I'll see England win
Portugal
something
also
in my
playing really
lifetime. I do think that now.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Quite young.
Yeah, we'll see. But there we have it, guys. Let us know what you guys think of our England squad. Do you think somebody else should have come? Do you think we should have dropped somebody else for another person? And how do you think Gareth Southgate is going to do in that World Cup? Let me know in the comments below. There we have it. That is another Sunday Vibes done and dusted. A very tough one, that actually. A very tough
Tougher
one.
than I thought.
Yeah, very tough. If you guys have enjoyed the video, then click the like button. If you're not subscribed to it, do that right now. And we'll see you guys very, very soon. Bye.